Alright guys, we're on our second review for our final. This one, we're just kind of focusing on linear functions, mainly just slope and graphing in slope-intercept form. So, we're going to start with 1 and 2, but notice on the side I already have the formula for us for how to find slope, and I'm going to give that to you guys for the final, so you do not have to memorize that. So we want to start with number 1 by labeling our points. So this is x in our first point. This is y in our first point. This is x in our second point, and y in our second point. So then we're going to go ahead and follow that y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So when we're doing this problem, our y2 is going first, and that's 13. But notice our y1 is already negative, so it's like subtracting a negative 14. Okay, but we know when we subtract a negative 14, it's just like adding. So we're going to change this to one big plus sign. So on the denominator, we've got x2 first, which is 5, and then we're subtracting negative 2. So again, we're subtracting a negative, so we're going to change that to a plus sign. Then we can go ahead and simplify. So 13 plus 14 gives me 27. And then 5 plus 2 gives me 7. So the last thing you got to look and see is, okay, does this simplify, yes or no? And in this case, it does not. So my final answer is 27 over 7. Okay, for number 2, we're going to do that same process. Label your points first. So x1, y1, x2, y2. So it's going negative 3 first, minus 11. And then on the denominator, negative 1 minus 17. Alright, so negative 3 minus 11 gives me negative 14. And then negative 1 minus 17 gets me a negative 18. So first thing I want you guys to notice is that a negative divided by a negative gets us a positive. So we know that's going to at least simplify. And then the next thing, what divides 14 and 18? And that's 2. So I'm going to divide each of those by 2 to get 7 over 9. And that's our final answer. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is slope-intercept form. So let's just refresh our memory before we start graphing. And that's y equals mx plus b. Okay, where m is our slope, b is our y-intercept. But what I always like to say, this is where we start, and our slope is where we go. Okay, so remember when we're starting on the y-axis, and that's the axis that goes up and down. Okay, so let's go ahead and give this graph a shot. Okay, so looking at number 3, we got y equals x minus 3. So this negative 3 is where I'm going to start. So I've got a point at negative 3. And then notice my slope, there's not a number here, but that's saying 1. So my slope here is rise over run, up 1, over 1. So I'm going up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, rise over run, up 1 over 1. Points are just getting bigger and bigger. And you can go the other way too. Just fill it out as much as you can. And then you can make your line. Okay, and add those arrows at the end. And you're good. But when you're doing this on your review and on your final, you don't have to graph it. It's just selecting the picture that matches. So hopefully that's a little bit easier for everybody. Okay, let's do that same thing for number 4. Number 4, again, we're going to start at this positive 1. That's our y-intercept. So on my y-axis, I'm starting at 1. And my slope is negative 3. So that's like saying negative 3 over 1. So I'm going to go down 3 because it's negative, and then over 1. So 1, 2, 3. Over 1. 1, 2, 3, over 1. 1, 2, 3, over 1. And then you can go ahead and connect your dots. Oops, I messed up a little bit there. There we go. Put those arrows at the end, and you're good to go. All right, I think we have 2 more. Yep, 2 more. So just as a refresher, again, it's our y equals mx plus b. This is where we start. And this is where we go. Okay, so for number 5, we're going to start at negative 5. And then our slope is 3 halves. So that's like saying up 3 over 2. So 1, 2, 3 over 2. 1, 2, 3 over 2. 1, 2, 3 over 2. All right, so I've got my points. Now I just need to connect them. Oops, missed that first one a little bit, but that's okay. So arrow, arrow, and then we're good to go on to our last one. Our last one's pretty similar, so let's see. We're going to start at -2. Okay, so I've got a -2 here. And then my slope is -3. So that's like saying -3 over 1. So down 3 over 1. So 1, 2, 3 over 1. But then again, we run out, so then we can go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and back 1 to get some more points. For 1. Come on, point. There we go. Alright, so then we can connect the dots there. Add those arrows, and we're good to go. Okay, so day 2, or not day 2, but I guess round 2 is finished. If you guys have any questions, again, just let me know. Yeah, see you later.